Knowledge sharing or skill sharing is an activity through which knowledge, namely, information, skills, or expertise, is exchanged among people, friends, peers, families, communities, for example, Wikipedia, or within or between organizations. It bridges the individual and organizational knowledge, improving the absorptive and innovation capacity and thus leading to sustained competitive advantage of companies as well as individuals. Knowledge sharing is part of the knowledge management process. Apart from traditional face-to-face knowledge sharing, social media is a good tool because it is convenient, efficient, and widely used. Organizations have recognized that knowledge constitutes a valuable intangible asset for creating and sustaining competitive advantages. However, technology constitutes only one of the many factors that affect the sharing of knowledge in organizations, such as organizational culture, trust, and incentives. The sharing of knowledge constitutes a major challenge in the field of knowledge management because some employees tend to resist sharing their knowledge with the rest of the organization. In the digital world, websites and mobile applications enable knowledge or talent sharing between individuals and/or within teams. The individuals can easily reach the people who want to learn and share their talent to get rewarded as flow or transfer. Although knowledge is commonly treated as an object, Dave Snowden has argued it is more appropriate to teach it as both a flow and a thing. Knowledge as a flow can be related to the concept of tacit knowledge. While the difficulty of sharing knowledge is in transferring knowledge from one entity to another, it may prove profitable for organizations to acknowledge the difficulties of knowledge transfer and adopt new knowledge management strategies accordingly. Levels. Knowledge can be shared in different ways and levels. The following segmentation sheds light on the essence of sharing. Explicit knowledge. Explicit knowledge sharing occurs when explicit knowledge is made available to be shared between entities. Explicit knowledge sharing can happen successfully when the following criteria are met. Articulation, the knowledge provider can describe the information. Awareness, the recipient must be aware that knowledge is available. Access, the knowledge recipient can access the knowledge provider. Guidance, the body of knowledge must be defined and differentiated into different topics or domains so as to avoid information overload, and to provide easy access to appropriate material. Knowledge managers are often considered key figures in the creation of an effective knowledge sharing system. Completeness, the holistic approach to knowledge sharing in the form of both centrally managed and self-published knowledge. Tacit knowledge. Tacit knowledge sharing occurs through different types of socialization. Although tacit knowledge is difficult to identify and codify, relevant factors that influence tacit knowledge sharing include informal networks such as daily interactions between people within a defined environment, work, school, home, etc. These networks span hierarchies and functions. The provision of space where people can engage in unstructured or unmonitored discussions, thereby fostering informal networks. Unstructured, less structured, or experimental work practices that encourage creative problem solving, and the development of social networks. An organizational culture which is based on trust. This encourages employees to share their knowledge. Employees' strong organizational commitment and loyalty to their employers supports tacit knowledge sharing. Embedded knowledge. Embedded knowledge sharing occurs when knowledge is shared through clearly delineated products, processes, routines, etc. This knowledge can be shared in different ways, such as scenario planning and debriefing, providing a structured space to create possible scenarios, followed by a discussion of what happened, and how it could have been different. Management training. Knowledge transfer, deliberately integrating systems, processes, routines, etc., to combine and share relevant knowledge. Methods. There are several methods, both formal and informal, that have claims to enable knowledge sharing in organizations. These include, but are not limited to, communities of practice. A group of people who share a craft or a profession, usually takes the form of cross-organizational or inter-organizational work groups, in physical, virtual or blended forms. Communities of interest, informal and voluntary gathering of individuals discussing on a regular basis, in many cases through defined digital channel. Work groups, task-oriented groups that may include project teams or employees from various departments, working and sharing knowledge together towards a specific goal such as product development or production. Knowledge Cafe, a methodology to conduct knowledge-sharing sessions using a combination of a large assembly and of small discussion groups of 3 to 5 persons, usually around small tables. Lessons learned techniques to learn from what has happened before and what could be done better the next time. Mentoring, a way to share a wide range of knowledge from technical values to technical and operational skills. Via mentoring programs, it is possible to share tacit norms of behavior and cultural values. Chats, informal sharing, using instant messaging platforms. The knowledge is accessible mainly in the present or by search. Wikis, digital spaces for gathering and sharing knowledge asynchronously on specific topics. Wiki pages link across topics to form an intuitive network of accumulated knowledge, using categories as a means of organizing the information. Storytelling, an informal way to share knowledge, where knowledge owner shares real-life stories to other. Shared knowledge bases, shared organized content containing information and knowledge. Can be formed as websites, intranets, databases, file drives, comprehensive models based on probabilistic causal relationships, or any other form that enables the access to content by the various individuals. Expert maps, organized lists or network of experts and corresponding expertise. Enables indirect access to the knowledge, via the expert. Connection to adjacent disciplines. Information technology systems. Information technology, IT, systems are common tools that help facilitate knowledge sharing and knowledge management. The main role of IT systems is to help people share knowledge through common platforms and electronic storage to help make access simpler, encouraging economic reuse of knowledge. IT systems can provide codification, personalization, electronic repositories for information and can help people locate each other to communicate directly. With appropriate training and education, IT systems can make it easier for organizations to acquire, store or disseminate knowledge. Economic theory. In economic theory, knowledge sharing has been studied in the field of industrial organization and in the field of contract theory. In industrial organization, Bhattacharya, Glaser, and Sappington, 1992, have emphasized the importance of knowledge sharing in research joint ventures in a context of imperfect competition. In the theory of incomplete contracts, Rosenkrantz and Schmitz, 1999-2003, have used the Grossman-Hartmore property rights approach to study how knowledge sharing is affected by the underlying ownership structure. Importance to organizations. Knowledge is transferred in organizations whether it is a managed process or not, since everyday knowledge transfer is a key part of organizational life. However, finding the best expert to share their knowledge in a specific matter could be hard, especially in larger organizations. Therefore, a structured strategy for knowledge transfer is required for the organization to thrive. Larger companies have a higher tendency to invest more on knowledge management processes, although competitive benefits are gained regardless of organization size. In an organizational context, tacit knowledge refers to a kind of knowledge that human beings develop by the experience they gain over years. At present, the employee's experience and knowledge can be seen as the most important and most valuable source that organizations have to protect. Knowledge constitutes a valuable, intangible asset for creating and sustaining competitive advantages within organizations. Several factors affect knowledge sharing in organizations, such as organizational culture, trust, incentives, and technology. In an organization, 5 distinct conditions of the organizational culture have a positive effect on knowledge sharing: communication and coordination between groups, trust, top management support, the reward system, and openness. Concerning the communication and coordination between groups condition, The organizations that are centralized with a bureaucratic management style can hinder the creation of new knowledge, whereas a flexible decentralized organizational structure encourages knowledge sharing. Also, internationalization is crucial for compliance or conformity. Dalker, 2005, says that internationalization is believing that the behavior dictated by the norm truly the right and proper way to behave. If the norm is to communicate and collaborate between teams, it will be much easier for members of the group to internalize these values and act accordingly. Drivers for knowledge sharing are connected to both human resources and software. Knowledge sharing activities are commonly supported by knowledge management systems, a form of information technology, IT, that facilitates and organizes information within a company or organization. Knowledge sharing in knowledge management systems can be driven by accountability-inducing management practices. The combination of evaluation and reward as an accountability-inducing management practice has been presented as an effective way for enhancing knowledge sharing. Challenges. Knowledge sharing can sometimes constitute a major challenge in the field of knowledge management. The difficulty of knowledge sharing resides in the transference of knowledge from one entity to another. Some employees and team leaders tend to resist sharing their knowledge for personal matters, for instance because of the notion that knowledge is one's property, ownership, therefore, becomes very important. Leaders and supervisors tend to hoard information in order to demonstrate power and supremacy over their employees. In order to counteract this, individuals must be reassured that they will receive some type of incentive for what they create. Supervisors and managers have a key role in this. They need to create a work culture which encourages employees to share their knowledge. However, Dalker, 2005, demonstrated that individuals are most commonly rewarded for what they know, not what they share. Negative consequences, such as isolation and resistance to ideas, occur when knowledge sharing is impeded. Sometimes the problem is that a part of an employee's knowledge can be subconscious and therefore it may be difficult to share information. To promote knowledge sharing and remove knowledge sharing obstacles, the organizational culture of an entity should encourage discovery and innovation. Members who trust each other are willing to exchange knowledge and at the same time want to embrace knowledge from other members as well. National culture is also one of the common barriers of knowledge sharing because culture has a huge effect on how people tend to share knowledge between each other. In some cultures, people share everything, in other cultures people share when asked, and in some cultures, people do not share even if it would help to achieve common goals. The political scientist Helen Hatzfeld has pointed out that people who have knowledge can be reluctant to share that knowledge when they are not confident in their own expertise, so to facilitate knowledge sharing, structures can be designed to elevate everyone to the status of a potential expert and make them more comfortable contributing. One example of such a system, to which Hatzfeld attributes mixed success in this regard, is Wikipedia. Pinho et al. 2012, have made a comprehensive literature review of knowledge management barriers and facilitators. Barriers are considered to be obstacles that hinder knowledge acquisition, creation, sharing, and transfer in and between organizations based on individual, socio-organizational or technological reasons. Respectively, facilitators are seen as enabling factors that improve, stimulate, or promote the flow of knowledge. According to Mayer et al. 2002, understanding of the process supporting knowledge management enables further consideration of the obstacles and facilitating factors. Introduction. It is impossible to prevent your team members from leaving the office. So, what happens when they are out of office, on leave, or have left the organization for good? The specialized knowledge, expertise, and information they acquired over time go with them. But this information needs to be shared with the rest of the team for seamless conduction of duties. Isn't it? This is where knowledge sharing comes into the picture. Just storing knowledge isn't enough. It needs to be shared so that every member across the team can access the information they need without losing precious time. The captured knowledge needs to be disseminated, scaled, and replicated for the success of an organization. Organizations must adapt the knowledge-sharing culture to deal with the risk of forgetting, misplacing, or losing the acquired knowledge. Whether verbal or digital, sharing the knowledge helps create a comprehensive knowledge base and embeds a knowledge-sharing culture. A knowledge-sharing platform should be such where the employees feel comfortable sharing their knowledge, views, opinions, and ideas while also seeking guidance from their peers, seniors, and experts in the organization. What is knowledge sharing? The process of transferring or sharing undocumented and documented information from one person to the other is known as knowledge sharing. It is a process through which the employees of an organization can easily share knowledge, experience, observations, and inputs with everyone in the organization. The knowledge-sharing process takes place on a common digital platform like a knowledge base that is accessible to all the employees anytime they need it. Importance of knowledge sharing. Organizations undermining the importance of knowledge sharing need to understand how vital it is to the organization's success. Here are some reasons why it is exceptionally crucial. 1. Knowledge sharing helps prevent brain drain. The reality is your employees will leave the organization someday or the other. New ones will replace them, but the old employees will take some institutional knowledge with them. And the new employees will be stuck without the necessary knowledge and information. Transparency in the processes via efficient knowledge sharing from day one helps prevent any significant skill gaps when the team members are not around, whether for the day or permanently. 2. Knowledge sharing saves time. When the organization suffers a knowledge gap, the employees have to invest a lot of time regaining the lost knowledge via several resources such as digging the internet, contacting old employees, reading old email trails, etc. But if the required information is present in the organization on a single platform, they have everything they need to refer to and do not need to waste any time. This is how knowledge sharing saves a considerable amount of time and, in turn, an organization's money. 3. Knowledge sharing boosts collaboration. There are organizations where employees perceive the information they have gathered with experience over time as a type of currency and hoard that knowledge at the expense of the organization's more significant goals. Knowledge sharing eliminates such behavior and boosts the collaborative spirit of employees. They focus on collaboration instead of competition by sharing advice, input, and feedback. Benefits of knowledge sharing technology. Knowledge sharing means that knowledge is instantly available to the team members and the employees in general. Knowledge sharing brings several benefits that boost productivity, enable better decision-making, and improve overall performance. It is capable of bringing a fundamental change to the organization. Let us have a look at some of the most lucrative benefits. It paves the way for workplace innovation. Your team members feel comfortable sharing their innovative ideas within a knowledge-sharing environment. This means they are putting 110% into the work assigned to them. The idea-sharing environment helps employees be more productive and stay on top of the new market trends, benefiting the organization with better results. Builds and improves customer relations. The importance of knowledge management software and knowledge sharing cannot be undermined if you want to serve your customers seamlessly. For example, suppose the support agent is unaware of the solution to a customer's problem and does not have access to the knowledge base either. It will make the agent clueless and ultimately lead to frustrated and angry customers. The presence of a knowledge-sharing platform can reduce the time and effort taken to solve customer queries, leading to better customer relations and, ultimately, happy customers. Enables the reuse of problem-solving mechanisms among other resources. If team member A faced a particular problem, it is evident that member B or C might also face it in the future. But suppose if member A is on an extended leave, how does B solve the problem? In the absence of a knowledge-sharing platform, member B has to search for problem-solving techniques, costing the organization considerable time and money. Now say, for example, member A has already updated the best practices to approach that particular problem in the knowledge base. Member B, C, D, or Z can log in and fetch the technique using a query. Hasn't this saved the redundant effort of employees and kept them from making the same mistake? They get the right solution at the right time. Thus, knowledge sharing helps streamline the work, increase productivity, and save precious money, time, and effort. Knowledge sharing documents could include training documents, best practices, user manuals, lessons learned, etc. Exchanging information equals excellent performance. Every organization has employees from different backgrounds and education who bring along a wide diversity of skill sets, experiences, and ideas. But does every organization tap into its creativity and ideas as much as it should? When employees and co-workers are part of a collaborative, knowledge-sharing culture that thrives on exchanging information, practices, ideas, and advice, it helps them deliver their best to the organization. They can inspire each other and help them work better. When an organization harnesses this knowledge, it turns its employees into productive resources who take the organization forward with innovative thinking and intelligent decision-making abilities. Best practices to promote knowledge-sharing culture. Here are 5 different best practices you can use to improve knowledge sharing across your organization. Knowledge sharing culture equals knowledge sharing habits. Creating a knowledge sharing culture can happen only with small steps like cultivating knowledge sharing habits. It is essential to educate your employees about knowledge sharing, not just by theory but by practice. Give them real-life examples of how knowledge sharing solved a particular problem in the organization, how it has benefited the marketing or accounts team, how it has improved the experience of XYZ employees. Make the concept relatable to help your employees understand its importance. Along with the importance and benefits of knowledge sharing, your employees must understand the process of knowledge transfer within the organization. The life cycle of knowledge needs to be explained or demonstrated for this purpose. The process of how data is created, organized, stored, pooled, and extended using technology for practical usage. Using a user-friendly knowledge-based software, you can efficiently conduct each step of the knowledge life cycle that allows your employees to create, organize, store and share knowledge seamlessly. It can effectively build and support a learning community and streamline internal communication and discussion. Incentivize knowledge sharing. It is no shocker that people are averse to change. But of course, when you implement a knowledge sharing management system in the organization, people are bound to repel it. But you can make it fun, exciting and attractive for them. The only way to do this is by rewarding them to adopt knowledge sharing practices. Initially, they might do it only for the rewards, but slowly when they start seeing its many benefits, it becomes a norm within the organization. How can you reward or motivate employees for knowledge sharing? Here are some ideas. You can give them a small award or public recognition during the team or quarterly company meeting. You could give out a Knowledge Pro of the Month award with some financial benefit and a certificate. You could explicitly take a few minutes to mention their commitment to knowledge sharing during team meetings. These rewards, recognition, and mentions will help your employees get out of the competitive mindset and get into the collaborative mindset. This way, they will not want to hoard their knowledge but want to share and contribute it within the organization. With the search option in the PHPKB knowledge base, you can effortlessly search for the employee who has added most inputs, articles, and comments on the knowledge base for a particular duration, be it a week or a month. Revise and customize your onboarding process. When you acquaint the employees with the knowledge sharing processes at the beginning of their tenure with you, you embed it into their daily work habits. Customize your onboarding process to make new hires understand the prevalence of knowledge sharing across the organization. Here are a few ways to do this. Acquaint them with presentations of other departments and the general hierarchy to understand how everything fits together, and they don't remain isolated to their respective teams. Use the buddy system where the new hires get a mentor or buddy from a different department to help them warm up to the office culture and solve any doubts they have in mind. PHPKB can store the specification and documentation for the onboarding process of new hires and can be used by different human resource specialists through the common platform. Use a cloud-based knowledge base. What is the use of the stored knowledge if your employees, users, and stakeholders cannot access them when they need it? Using a cloud-based knowledge base improves the accessibility of the knowledge and helps in many other ways. Let us look at a few of them. It is mobile-friendly. It can be integrated with third-party collaboration tools. It has a definitive authoring process and direct link sharing. It allows users to access the resources at any point and time. It has a user-friendly interface and doesn't require technical training to operate. It allows defining and managing multiple roles and the subsequent permissions for accessing the content. Use state-of-the-art knowledge sharing tool. The most important and overlooked way to foster a knowledge sharing culture in the organization is to have an easy-to-use, state-of-the-art, knowledge sharing tool as the organization-wide knowledge sharing platform. A practical knowledge base allows users to create, store and search for data easily. They can ask questions, give advice, add comments, and more using this tool. With a suitable knowledge base, you can multiply the contribution and capability of every employee in the organization. PHPKB is a top knowledge base system that enables knowledge sharing on a single, centralized platform, accessible from multiple devices. Conclusion. With the number of teams growing, the constant need for information, and remote working on the rise, it has become non-negotiable for every organization to use the right set of tools to embed the knowledge-sharing culture into the work environment. The process of developing a knowledge-sharing platform and building a knowledge-sharing culture might look very different initially. But as time passes by, your organization will start benefiting lucratively from the union of both these processes that aim towards effective knowledge transfer. Thank you for watching this video.